All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having yourselves a fantastic start to your, was it Thursday today here? And yeah, feeling refreshed, recharged, and hopefully ready for what should be, I don't know, a less tumultuous trading day than what we had there yesterday. I know that's what I'm looking forward here to today. High volume and decision, right? Pretty much yesterday. I think we felt that kind of across the board with a lot of the trades that we took. A lot of stuff just kind of bouncing around, not really following through, and then stopping us out and following us through. So kind of just like frustrating, right, from that situation. Feels a little bit to me like deja vu to last summer, and maybe more like last August, where I constantly felt like I was getting the direction correct, but the basically entry timing wrong, and maybe like stop losses wrong. So that's something I'm going to put a little bit of focus into and put a little bit of my energy into, just to try to reconcile that a little bit. Figure out, is it me? Is it my technique? Is it whatever? And just try to find a reasonable baseline to a certain extent, and kind of get back to where I should be with my trading. I also think it's important to acknowledge, right, that like there are ups and downs in this, regardless of how long you've been trading or how good you are or how successful you are. And that doesn't mean that you need to change everything dramatically, right? So having a couple weeks a year, having a couple months a year where you deal with some intrusive thoughts, or feel that, oh my gosh, this isn't working out the way that I want, or that this isn't as easy as it was, a week ago or 2 weeks ago, or whatever it might be. It's all totally normal, right? No one's P&L goes up in a straight line forever, and as much as people want it to, and as much pressure as we feel for it to do that, it's just not simply the reality. And so sometimes there are periods where you have to survive, and sometimes there are periods where you thrive. And I think in general, this year has been much more a thrive year than a survive year. And if we're going to get a couple weeks here and there where we're, one up, one down, one up, one down, so be it. That's just the way the game goes. And if we expect ourselves to be perfect every single day, and never make any mistakes, and that we can't, have a bit of drawdown, then we're probably not going to make it as traders, right? We have unrealistic expectations that are impossible to accomplish. And as much as social media wants to tell you otherwise, it's just simply not the case. So doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that I'm like, so flabbergasted or annoyed or anything along those lines. But I do feel like, this got to be a little bit deliberate here today, and put ourselves in a good situation. And then if the market takes care of us, the market takes care of us. So control the variables we can't control. Focus on, what we can do, right? On how we can improve and how we can get better. And then we'll get out of that, whatever period it might be, sooner rather than later. That being said, right, it's been 2 red days. So let's not get too carried away here. And let's put ourselves in a good spot, and get back to where we should be. From an economic calendar perspective, right, today is a little bit of a busier session. We've got a bunch of yellow folder news here. Business inventories at 10, pending home sales, housing market index, yada yada yada. Some more Fed speak here later in the afternoon, and then Trump speaks here this evening. There are a lot of speculation over what Trump is going to say. I'm not going to get into any of that because I have no clue. So we'll just let the market position itself the way it wants. And if the volume tells us what to do and the candlesticks agree with those narratives, then we'll have some joy and we'll take advantage of it. So let's get after a little bit here. And let's figure out what this session is telling us. So yesterday, ES, green candle, increasing volume, and then now gapping down. We'll call this a 2 out of 3 to the upside with volume. Pre-market high here, 33. To the downside, we're looking at an 80. So again, not too much needs to change from that perspective. NQ, right? This is where we see the divergence. So more selling pressure, more indecision there yesterday, right? Red candle, increasing volume, gap down. So 3 for 3 here to the downside, right? So a bit more trending to the, a bit more trending here to the downside. We'll see how that kind of comes together. Yeah, we're looking at what, 29,300 here pre-market. You know, the thing that, you know, I reckon, quote unquote, even though it's a 3 for 3 to the downside, like I reckon that it's gonna be hard for us to get that really consistent trending move until we clear through this channel. So 300 is kind of what we're looking for. Map it out to 800. 28.8. That's plenty of space. To the upside here, you'd be looking 29.8. And we don't need that much. So lots of space in either direction here. Seems like the path of least resistance is a little bit lower here today. We'll see if that ends up playing out, but you know, early bias I would say is towards that narrative. All right, CL inside bar there yesterday. Non-starter, who cares? Apple 3 for 3 to the upside. Tesla 3 for 3 to the downside. So again, that divergence all over the place here. Microsoft 3 for 3 to the upside. Amazon 3 for 3 to the upside. AMD 3 for 3 to the downside. It's either trending lower or trending higher. Not really anything in between here. Nvidia, that volume increasing or decreasing? Technically increasing. So 2 out of 3 to the upside with volume. Meta, just a little baby gap down here. So 2 out of 3 to the upside with vol. Netflix earnings today. Interesting. Red decreasing, gap up. So 1 for 3 going into earnings. And then Google 3 for 3 here to the upside. And then Micron 3 for 3 here to the downside. And then VIX, I'm not sure where to put it today here. 16.19, pretty much spot on for what it was yesterday at this time, right? Yesterday we looked at it, it was like 16.18. So no real significant difference, I would say. So no like significant change in personality or divergence between, you know, what we're seeing. The biggest narrative or the biggest wrinkle that we're going to have to deal with, right, is just how every leading name is either trending higher or trending lower. And then the divergence between the indexes. So the backdrop, right, or the context that we're seeing from kind of our leading names and from our indexes is telling us that every story is just a little bit different here this morning, or it's like pointing in opposite directions. So if that's generally the case, right, then the truth is usually somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle when things are pointing in opposite directions is going to be, you know, a day of consolidation or choppiness or whatever you want to call it. So our base assumption here today is that's going to be the market state until proven otherwise. If we can put ourselves into that right mindset from the get-go, I think it's going to be a little bit easier to not get frustrated by the price action. And it should mean that it's clear and obvious to us what a breakout, right, of those types of conditions looks like here today. So that would be consistent narratives across the board, right? Everything moving in the same direction. ES and NQ kind of syncing up, and then volume returning at some point here to sort of drive that narrative in a singular path. We're starting to now creep into earnings season a little bit, so maybe that does allow us to create that trending market to a certain extent. But I think we're still dealing with a lot of geopolitical stuff. I think that there's a lot of false promises on when things are going to be resolved in the Middle East. Seems like every day we get news of a new strike, and then that they want to start negotiations again. So it's like it's impossible to know what actually is really going on. So let's just put ourselves in a good situation from a mental perspective, control our variables well, and just like let price action tell us, how we need to behave or how we need to trade. And then, not force anything or do anything stupid in between. Any questions here before we get started? All right, sweet. So we got a couple of minutes here till market open. Just going to go get my head screwed on straight here before we get started, and then we'll jump back on here in a few minutes. All right, so let's mark it open. Let's see how things shape up here today. So 70 odd points, right? Not a terrible size opening range. Volume is still pretty light. Very, very light, I would say, all things considered now. All right, 6K shares or 6K contracts. That's not much. We'll see how this behaves, but yeah, a bit of an interesting start, I would say. Not really convincing here. Obviously not increasing volume there on that second bar of the day. Not one bit. I mean, this is going to give us increasing volume here. So we kind of want to just quickly scan, right, how consistent our narrative is. All right, looks pretty similar across the board. Few exceptions here, but nothing too crazy. So it looks like we're going to have a setup here to the downside, targeting approximately that 300 area. Okay, reasonable enough close. So now you're looking 441. Too fast. I'm going to jump into. We'll call it 40. You're looking at a pullback into 30. Might be tough for us to get. Okay, so watch carefully here. 12 points away. Yeah, that was a bit too fast, right? I went from like 12 to 37 in just a flash. Still no lower low, so this inside bar doesn't change anything yet. Looking at 71 now. So all I'm doing here, right, while I'm watching this price pull in, is I'm just looking at the buy price and the sell price, right? How big are those jump ups? I'm not necessarily keeping track. It's not like I have a little notepad here and saying 2 points, 3 points, whatever, but just kind of watching what the normal is. And then if I see, you know, like a 10-point jump like we just saw there from 30 to 40, trying to take like a little mental note of it. So inside bar still hasn't changed anything here yet. Would still need to see that, you know, 62-ish entry. All right, we get this break and hold here through lows, but no chance there so far for us, or at least for me. So 15 seconds approximately here. Still lots of space, so no rush. $390 versus $380. Now it's going to be $400 versus $390. $407. $408 versus $98. That seems to be the one. Too fast. 35.25 now. Or 36.26, I should say. I think a lot of where like the frustration, at least from my perspective, with this price action has been that it very much feels like getting the entries you want often feels impossible, and that if just chasing and breaking our rules would actually get us paid and make us money. And so it's like the price action is like trying to lure me into doing something stupid. And that's it's a dumb limiting belief. Okay, so again, still in business here. Targeting 300 at this point, just on the dot. So now 357.47. $65.55. Kind of expecting it to behave like this previous candle just did, right? We got the same initial flush lower and then quick little bounce back. Maybe spoke a little bit too soon there. So still be 64.54. And in that calendar range. So watching carefully here. I'll let this candle close. There's your fake out. That'd be 75.65. So no chance at this again. Oh, what a life. All right, so we'll be watching here. I mean, 3 min might give us a chance now to push towards 200. All right, so kind of in that range. Big sell-off here, so there's no rush. Imagine VIX is now pushing 17. You're looking at 37.27. Oh, fuck, sorry. About 34.24. Okay, 44.34. Okay, I'm watching here. I'm just not going to let myself chase, right? So you're looking at 30.20 on the 2-min. 31.21. Okay, good reaction there. So now 34.24. It might just die on us before we have a chance. And watch this quick move here on this candle close. And sort of the pattern we've seen here today. It's annoying. Okay, so looking at 80 or 91, 81. I'm watching here quickly. Higher still. Might be back in business for the 309. Come on. give it a sec. All right, guys, I am in average price 309 on the dot. There's the retest, which I don't like. It's got a flush through now. Better. Again, bouncy, 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 bouncy. I'm going to close this. Yeah, okay, good decision. $27. It's going to be a reversal volume. I'm going to wait. So closed at 313.75. So it took like a 4-point loss there. The fact that it went from 309 to 85 and then to back to 309 in like 5 seconds. It feels like just such a reminder of what price action has been this week. Did now print a reversal though. Yeah, that's a quick 60 points. I should be looking at what, 318 here? So 91, 301. Let this candle close. Higher high, higher low, decreasing volume. I'm not too scared by this yet. Oh, that's a game. Be 307, 317. Okay. See if it deja vu's here. So 98, 308. I almost expect it to fake out through there. Yeah. 89, 83, 70. Wowzers. Okay. Fake out through low. 54, 64. Hey guys, I am in average price 63.25. It's got a rally aggressive. Oh, big rejection at 90. Let's see if we can get over 300. There we go. Better. Better. Keep rallying, you prick. Hold 300. Fantastic. Okay, keep going. We want to see if it can basically make a higher high versus that red candle, right? There we go. There we go. Didn't hold it though. Maybe a little bit prematurely from my end there. It's like quick 90 points. And then back to sort of baseline a little bit. Okay, it's got to hold 300. Not the best close. Let's see if it's got the juice for one more attempt here for a higher high. I just got my finger on the trigger here, right? Watching very carefully. Yeah, not going to be a greedy prick here, right? Not going to be a greedy prick. This is a 70-point move so far. That's a big trade, right? Don't take it for granted. Come on, give me that pop. Okay, hit and stalled at 50. I'm getting the little inside bar, 15 seconds. Can it hold? Can it hold? Get over 50. Again, 51, then dives. Then goes to 36, 33, back to 47. All right, there we go. Break, break, break. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Keep pushing. There it keeps going. See if we can get through this next level here. We want to see 80 act as support now. Beautiful. Keep going. Okay. Losing a little bit of this momentum, but good volume here. Uh, 20 seconds to go on this candle. I'm going to see how this candle closes and then make my decision on how to hold this next chunk. This is a monster trade here. Okay, see if we can get through 400. It's a good candle, good volume, so I've got no reason to get out of this yet. See if we can blast through 4. Now rally, rally, rally. And so now I'm going to focus on closing as P&L is increasing here. Come on. If this next 30 seconds can hold above 400, I'm still in play. Otherwise, I'll look to get out. Okay, good rally at the close. So keep pushing here, you brick. Maybe not the best volume profile on that candle, if I'm going to be honest. So the only thing that's bothering me about it. Everything else looks reasonable. Okay, one last attempt here. Can it push? It's got a rally. It's got a rally. Want to see higher high. Want to see a higher high. Come on. Come on. Okay, I got my finger on the exit button here. You can do it. You can do it. Make that higher high breakout. There it goes. Fantastic. Hold it. Hold it. All right, this is going to be the exit right here. Boom. All right, I'm out. Exit price 424.50. 424.50. No, it wasn't a bold strategy. I was just following my rules, right? What do we look for post-entry? We look for strong candle shape, strong volume profile, holding higher highs. If we get 2 out of 3, we look to hold. If we get 1 out of 3, we look to exit. If we get 3 out of 3, we look to pyramid. So all we did there was follow our rules, right? So that was about 160 points. From 163 to 124. Or sorry, 363. Sorry, 263 to 424. I probably should have held for longer, but that's fine. And all we did, right, was follow our rules. That's it. Nothing else. Have one green. Uh, 160 points doesn't put you green on the week. That's a you problem at that point. Well, I'm not going to place any further trades here this morning, team. I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my morning. Any questions here before we wrap up the stream for the day? How did I know it wasn't going to go lower, continue to go lower? Because it bounced back up above the previous low a day, right? If the move is strong, then it would have held the lower lows. If the move is weak, it's going to bounce back up above. So we saw it bounce below, then above, and then pull in again, right? And that was our entry trigger. Right, so we saw bears fail effectively, right, prior to our entry. So once you see one side of your trade fail and you have a thesis, right, and you have a confirmation and you have a setup, you should feel confident that you're going to get follow through because you've already seen one side fail. And so if they failed, right, especially after a big move lower, it's going to take them a lot of effort and a lot of time before they can basically rebuild the courage to try again. So our whole entry thesis is based on the idea that we see the other side of our trade fail before entering so that we can get that kind of like cushion basically before they try to defend the idea again. Any other questions here, team? All right, well, if no further questions, I'm going to kill the stream here for the day and go celebrate an early morning. So have yourselves all a good one, and we'll see you tomorrow, I guess. Peace.